AITA for exposing my maid of honor's affair at my own wedding reception. On my wedding morning, I found out my maid of honor had been sleeping with my husband's brother, who was there with his wife and their 4-year-old daughter, who was our flower girl. I had 6 hours to decide what to do with that. I want to start by acknowledging that what I did was not clean. I know the optics. I know what it looks like. I need you to have the full picture before you make your verdict. My maid of honor, Priya, has been my best friend for 14 years. We have been through everything together: her dad's illness, my anxiety disorder, 2 terrible shared flats, approximately 400 hours on the phone. She knows my husband's family as well as I do. She has been to every birthday, every Christmas, every gathering. She knows his brother Marcus. She knows Marcus's wife Ellie, who is one of the genuinely kindest humans I have ever encountered. She knows their 4-year-old daughter Sophia, who was my flower girl. On my wedding morning, getting ready in the hotel suite, Priya stepped into the shower. She left her phone face up on the vanity. I was not trying to read it. The screen lit up and the message was right there in the preview. It was from a contact saved only as M. The message said, "Last night was everything. I love you. Today is going to be so hard." I stood with that message for a very long time. I went through the ceremony. I said my vows and I meant every one of them. I smiled for 7 hours of photographs. I watched Marcus hold Ellie's hand during the ceremony. I watched Sophia scatter flower petals with total seriousness. I watched Ellie laugh at something Marcus whispered to her during the first dance, and I felt physically sick. During the reception speeches, Priya stood up. She spoke beautifully about friendship and loyalty and honesty, and what a privilege it was to stand beside someone she loved on the most important day of their life. She was brilliant, she always is. When she sat down, I leaned across and spoke quietly only to her. I said, "I saw the message from M this morning. I know what's been going on." Priya went completely still. Then she went white. Then she got up from the table. I watched her cross the room and say something to Marcus. I watched his face change entirely from a man at a wedding to a man whose world had just cracked open. He left the room. Priya followed him. Ellie didn't find out at the wedding. She found out 2 days later when Marcus came home and confessed, because Priya had told him I knew and the situation was collapsing. Marcus told Ellie, "They are now separated. My wedding photos are the most beautiful photos I have ever seen of myself. I look completely miserable in roughly half of them, and I don't think anyone will be able to explain it. Am I the asshole?" Update, 3 months later. Priya contacted me 6 weeks after the wedding. The conversation lasted nearly 4 hours, and it was one of the most painful things I've ever sat through, not because she was defensive, but because she wasn't. She told me the affair had been going on for 8 months. She told me she had been planning to end it. I think I believe her, or at least I believe she wanted to believe that herself. We are not okay. We are something that might eventually become okay. I don't know what word to use for it right now. Marcus and Ellie are in mediation. Ellie has focused entirely on Sophia throughout this, which tells you everything about who she is. She texted me once to say she wasn't angry at me and that she would always have wanted to know. That text, I have read it 30 times. It matters more to me than I can explain. My husband is grieving the version of his brother he thought he knew and angry at the situation. He has never directed any of that toward me. I still don't know if I was right. What I know is that I couldn't have sat through 6 hours of that reception watching Ellie hold Marcus's hand while Sophia climbed on his lap. I couldn't have. Maybe that makes me selfish. Maybe it makes me human. Maybe it makes me both. NTA or ITA, what would you have done with 6 hours and that secret? Comment below.